Good morning, everyone. This is Todd, otherwise known as Silverhairstacker, and Tom, the Queen City Picker.
Good morning.
And we're happy to be here on a Thursday morning.
Yep.
Yep.
One more day to weekend.
Yeah, I guess so.
You can have all the boys back to the house at Christmas time?
Uh, they will filter through on their own time,
Right.
which is sometimes they come in and stay for a couple of days, and sometimes they come in for 3 or 4 hours and leave. Sometimes it's hard to get everybody in together all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
Well,
Tommy.
you've got a daughter-in-law to deal with this year too, so
Yeah,
you got to make time. She's gonna have to make time for her side of the family.
they're not like me. They still work for the man. They still
Go
have
do
jobs. So who we got here? Tommy Bernard. What an
they? Hey, Tom.
intro. Well, thanks. It's the excitement rules up in here with Old Man Land.
Hey, Bum Crack.
This is Grumpy. This is Grumpier. There's Bum Crack Picker all the way from England. Bum Crack, were you around yesterday um, when Cyber Curtain Twitcher made an appearance? Because he's in England too. You don't live very close together, but anyway. Chicken Toad and Glock 30. Hey, Glock 30, what's going on? Yeah.
So, what you got on your agenda this week, Ken?
Uh, Me?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I am. Let's see. On Sunday, we go to the big town of Post, Texas. So,
What's going on in Post?
well, Gwen's got an upline in her
Oh,
new business that's having
right.
a Christmas party, and
Oh, that's cool.
we're supposed to go over there and party at their place.
How far is that away from you?
It's about a 3 hour drive.
Oh.
A 3 hour cruise, a 3 hour cruise. The ship set ground on the shore of the Sunchart. Oh well, shut up, Todd. There's Nashana. There's Hank. There's Beth. Listening while driving. That's her MO. Normal modus operandi.
Right.
Operandi. How do you say that?
Miranda.
Why would they use Latin terms to describe what a criminal does?
Trying to
Just
be
because they
fancy.
can. Police being fancy. Anyway, yeah, so that's coming up in a couple of days. But I get to drag my golf clubs with me. I haven't played golf since Father's Day of 2020. So it's going to be bad.
I've never.
If y'all don't play golf, if you play like twice a week, your game stays about the same
Right.
level ability. But if you don't play but once every 1.5 years, it's it's going to be bad. And
There's that.
my friend I'm going to play with is he plays a couple of times a week. So, and he was always better than me anyway. So it's going to be. I hate bringing down the game of another player. You know, you go out two of you to the golf course, and one of you's a lot better than me. But we have fun. You're too short to play golf, Kathy.
Yeah,
Hi,
I
Kathy.
saw that. A guy I used to work on his computer with, when he retired, his brother said, which they both live here in town, said, "You got to start playing golf." And he said, "I've never played golf. I don't know whether I like it or not." So his wife, and the guy's got money. His wife said, "Why don't you take him to," Jack is the guy I was working for.
Yeah.
She said, told her brother-in-law to take Jack down to the golf store, get him set up with some clubs and shoes and whatever else he needs, and because him being in the house all the time was driving her crazy. So he took him to the golf course and set him up. And Jack's brother's a member of Quail Hollow here in Charlotte. That's where
Hmm.
if you follow golfing tournaments, that's where the Wells Fargo tournament's held. Um,
Sounds fancy.
it's real fancy, you know. It's real fancy. So anyway, he took him down there and taught him. They played 18 holes. It took them about a day, all day to play them. And he liked it, so he signed up for some class. Got the pro or a instructor to teach him how to play.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Have
And
somebody
he
teach you.
plays golf every day except Sunday. And but his wife says he's obsessed with it now. But she said he's not in the house bothering her, so.
Look, Kathy says she goes and plays golf so she can hang around the beer cart.
And I tell you what, they when they have the Wells Fargo tournament here in town, they apparently do it up right over there at the golf course. But I've been invited to go, not play, but go watch the tournament, and I just had the traffic's a mess over there and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just old and cantankerous, and I just don't like traffic anymore.
Yep. So we'll take a chance on the weather being nice Sunday.
Well, don't you play in the snow?
It's a
I thought
little
that's what the orange balls were for, so you could find your
play in the snow.
you find your
No,
ball when you playing
I'm
in the snow.
I'm too old to play in the snow. But I just like to play because it's fun being out there with someone else,
Yeah.
just talking and hitting a ball around the course, riding a golf cart.
Now, if you want to go to a serious tournament, that's the Augusta National. Man, there's some serious golfers down there. They don't play. I mean, they don't act up. They're out there to golf.
Well,
Nishana says she hates golf. We moved in 30 years ago, and they were planning to get approved for the golf course, which they did. We live on the sixth hole.
so yeah, I would be one of those golfers who
In our backyard all the time.
hits balls over into the neighboring houses' yards and banging off their roof and outside walls. Yeah, that's my game.
There was an article I think a couple summers ago. Some teenage boys they they'd go snorkeling in the ponds at the golf course, and they would retrieve golf balls, and they gave the golf course 1/3 of them as payment, and they would resell them for practice balls or whatever, or use them
Hmm.
for practice balls, and then they would clean up the ones that they kept and sell them off on eBay for some pretty good money.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, if you
some of them
got
golf balls are expensive.
yeah, you can spend 40, $50 on a box of balls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can slice like a nobody's business. A slice is where when you hit the ball, it curves to the right and into the forest
Yeah,
or somebody's yard. So there's Sally.
one of my best friend, he golfs, and he says, of course, where they're playing on a course that's got a green that's to the right, where a good slice would really come in handy. He said, of course, he never does it then. But good morning, Sally Ann.
Good morning. How are you guys
Yeah,
today?
pretty
Cold.
good. So
You're cold.
Yeah, I've been cold for a couple of days now. Yesterday I was really cold. I was afraid I was coming down with something, but
Oh,
apparently not. I went and put me a couple of blankets on my bed last night and went to bed and woke up a lot better this morning. Not as cold, but still kind of on the cool side.
you know what? You should get a weighted blanket.
I've got one.
Oh,
We got it from my dad, but he was so far along that it did more worse than it did good.
oh,
But we've got one. It's pretty. I'll put it over my lap sometimes.
yeah.
hmm,
But
I usually get really warm with those. The one I have is like 25 pounds.
I might have to try put it on. I might put it on my bed and see if the covers will stay on the bed.
Yeah.
Cause I knock them off during the night. And so anyway,
Sally, you look like Betty. You look like Betty Boop with that hat on.
Betty Boop.
Yeah, you know Betty Boop. The
Yeah.
hey,
uh,
she's really starting to look like Valerie.
but instead of a little dog, she's got a cat. So
Yeah.
you can't actually be Betty Boop.
Well, thanks, I guess.
Well, I mean, Betty Boop has her hair kind of cut like yours
Oh,
is right
right,
now, and she's always got some kind of hat or cap on
right.
that.
I just don't
Sorry,
Oh,
that
gosh.
was.
No, that's fine.
My son gave me a coupon for 30% off of any of the donated goods at Goodwill, and it can be used over and over again from the 10th through the 17th. So I guess Roberta and I will go Goodwilling this weekend.
Oh yeah. Uh,
I
I
want to.
I still haven't tried going to any bins. They've got one in Waco, but Gwen said she went in there one time and it was just nasty, and the people that were in there were worse than Walmart people, and I was like, really? Worse than
Mm.
Walmart people? That's
Well, that's like
that's
those
that's a
places.
stretch.
Uh, Kathy, she's laying right here between me and my tablet. Um,
Sorry, I'm so blunt, Nishana. I thought it was a compliment. Betty Boop is cute. Anyway, go ahead,
the
Tom. Sorry to
the
interrupt.
uh, last weekend or weekend before last, Roberta and I went up to her parents' house and we stopped at one of those places where they start off everything $7 and then the next day it's $5 and $4 on down until it gets down to $1. And we didn't take gloves. When we go back, we will be taking some gloves because it was kind of dusty and a little bit on the dirty side. I mean, the store itself was clean, but
Yeah.
the merchandise in these big bins that they have um, look like they could be using a good dusting, vacuuming, or something.
Well,
Yeah.
Did they wash the clothes before they put them in bins, or do they just
No,
take them straight from the donation pile and dump them in a bin?
Goodwill doesn't wash anything.
Wow.
If it's so dirty it needs to be washed, then they throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard stories of people who reach in the bins and cut themselves on a piece of glass or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, eh.
I've been to the one up by the airport, and I know Valerie will become a regular there. And they are just so aggressive.
Yeah, I hear that about. You don't want to go in there if you don't mind rubbing asses with people who are trying to reach over you to grab something.
I'd like to have the money just to piss everybody off. I'd like to have the money to walk in there and find the manager and say, I'm buying everything that's on the floor. Tell them to back away. The good, the bad, the ugly, just to piss everybody off. Because some of these people really are kind of hateful up there.
Mm.
But you know, I'm a real asshole, so I do stuff like that.
I bet you can elbow a little old lady out of your way pretty good, Tom.
That's right, Beth. I guess there are worse compliments than Betty Boop. For sure.
uh,
Oh,
yeah, I don't really need to go to the bins though. I get so much stuff at auctions and
Yeah.
our local rummage sale, and then when it's the season, garage sales.
I've started becoming pretty picky about like what I pick up at the thrift store and stuff like that, especially like in the wintertime, in the summer, I'm at yard sales like that here, and so like
Bless
I'm
you.
able to grab a lot for a little bit of money, and then at thrift stores, if I pay $3 for a sweater and make 40 off of it, I'm super happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did this morning. I bought an Orvis sweater at a thrift store for $3, and I made 40 on it.
Nice.
So
Ooh,
to me it's
another
good.
offer.
Hey Tara.
Hey, I will say that's the one thing I do miss a little bit about up north because the thrift stores up there, I get a lot of what I call like good quality, like winter clothing, like good name brands and like snowmobile clothing and stuff.
right.
Yeah. I
Well,
I
you know,
can't usually get it for as cheap as I want it until usually summertime.
Mm.
you ought to take a trip back up there, Tara, and just shop for a week.
I don't think I want to do that. Hey, Kathy. Jim was going to go up there. He wanted to go up there like last week or maybe like 8 days ago, but then they got 6 inches of snow, and then they got another 6 inches of snow. Well,
Mhm.
when you have the road gets plowed in front of my driveway, I mean, I ain't gonna have him get stuck there. And then it was like cold. I mean, it was like 1 below one morning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's done
See,
for the
that
year.
it's already happened. It's already happened. They just can't take the cold anymore. They don't
Now,
can't take the.
Jim's more of a wimp than me. I got rid of most of what I would call our good winter clothing. Like Jim and Brandon went up there in last month. Was it right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving? And it was cold at night. And I mean, I'm like scrambling around trying to find like hats and gloves and like a pair of snow pants and that because honestly, I got rid of most of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
down here, once in a while, I mean, like I'll put a jacket on. Most of the time, it really doesn't get cold enough where I'm not just finding like a hoodie sweatshirt. Tell you the
Right.
truth, you know.
I know.
And I had a lot of because we used to snowmobile. I had a lot of really good quality snowmobile coats and stuff. I kept like one Arctic Cat coat, just a couple Arctic Cat coats that I liked, but I sold all our snowmobile stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back up to 80 degrees today. It's
Oof.
like,
It's going to be nice here. I don't know if that's today. It's going to get up to 65, and then it's going to be pretty warm tomorrow, like maybe close to 70. And then we're
Wow.
supposed to get a big thing of rain. But like at night here, like last night, it was like 29,
Yeah.
But I can't complain. It could be a lot worse. I mean, I could tell you in Eagle River, it ain't this mild.
Yeah.
65 to 70 would be that's a good range in there.
Yeah. I like it. If it's like 65, 70 and the sun's out, yeah, I want to go out and like do stuff outside in that. It's nice out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sully, you're
Can't
gonna
really
have to change
do
it. You're
anything
gonna.
right now outside.
Oh,
That's
screw
what I'm
that.
doing. Yeah.
Screw that, huh?
I'm glad I don't live where you live, Sally.
You
Good
know,
grief.
I can understand why people still live up there. But then again, if everybody moves south, then I'd move up there because then I wouldn't have to deal with
I
people.
would like, I always say this about these like Kentucky people because they're like kind of wimps. I'm like, oh man, if you really knew what winter would be, what winter really is, I like to like, like on Star Trek where they have like the teleporter and you could like beam people to another thing. I like to just beam them to like northern Wisconsin for like 10 minutes and then bring them back down and say, okay, now complain about your winter.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I told the story before. A boy I went to high school with, he right after we graduated from high school, he went to Alaska to work on the Alaska pipeline. And he was going to go up there and work a couple of years and bank a bunch of money and then come back and go to school. Well, he never came back. He stayed up there. He met a girl and they just stayed up there. Well, they did finally move back down here. And their kids were in junior high and high school. And their kids would just die because the schools were closed up here
Yeah.
because there was a little dusting of snow. And up there, my friend said, "Well, they don't close schools until it gets to about 27 below zero because that's when the oil in the buses start freezing up."
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. The
Well, I
buses.
think up there, like anything that's like a municipality vehicle or a bus, they probably keep in heated garages. They
Yeah,
get like those big heated. Like I know, like the buses up by us, they had a heated garage, but then they'd have these. They look like power lines. They're about like I don't know, 14 feet up in the air, and they all have cords hanging down from them because then
right,
that's where the buses park, and then they all get plugged in.
right.
Hey, there's Cyber Curtain Twitcher. Now we got two Englishers in our chat.
Hey there, Cyber.
Cyber lives in southern England, and
We
Bumcrack lives in northern England.
I bet
Bunkrat
they go.
he lives in the London area, doesn't he?
Bumcrack?
Yeah, I thought he lived in the London area.
No, he lives up in the north part, pretty close to the Scottish border.
Oh, okay. Um, we were listening. We were having our morning coffee, and Roberta was playing this video on YouTube, and it's about the English dialects, accents,
Mm-hmm.
and it was amusing
Yeah.
because this area has a certain accent, and then you go like 2 blocks over, and it's entirely different.
Well, that's how it is. Like what is that one? Is it Scottish or oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to remember it now. But there was that one guy. Remember that one guy that we had on? That he sounded a lot different than Bumcrack does.
Yeah,
And but he was like he he was like from
Yeah,
not
I know who you're talking about. Wasn't he
yeah
from
the
Ireland? He
I don't
he
know.
sold a lot of like
Jamie, that's who it was.
yeah, Jamie. He sold a
Jamie.
bunch of antique military type items.
Yeah.
yeah.
Military militia. That's what his
Oh
name was.
yeah, Liverpool. Yeah, he was from Liverpool.
Yeah.
So no, not Ireland. Liverpoolian.
Yeah, but he's from like a different part, so he sounds
Right.
different than Yeah. It's hard to like describe it, but it's like different.
It's like
If
if
I could,
I like the show Shameless, but I've tried to watch the English version, and they have such a thick Cockney accent. I can't hardly understand them. I never
I
got
didn't
into
know
it.
they had an English version.
Yeah, there's an English version. Well,
Oh,
Shameless was originally an
yeah.
English show, but I tried to watch like the first couple. They have that Cockney accent. It's so thick I can't hardly understand it. I just
Yeah,
couldn't get into it.
well, you
it's
know, the
hard.
office.
It's hard for me too, but it's like good. It's like a good listening exercise for me because
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what they say, and I usually have subtitles on anyways,
Oh yeah,
so,
subtitles.
so I kind
Yeah.
of learn.
The
That's
office.
okay though. I can't even understand Carol when she talks. She's got such a weird Bostonian. Park the car.
Yeah, pack
Yeah.
your car in the garage. um, if I was going to learn to do a British accent, I'd want to do the Cockney one. The one where they drop the H's.
Yeah. Ugh.
Eliza Doolittle.
They
Yeah,
got this thing here, Jim. Listen, this is like when we first were coming down here. Jim's listening to this commercial on the radio, and it's like they got that Kentucky accent, and they're like, "Come into Smith for all your all needs. We service all your all." Jim's like, "All your all? What the hell is that?" Well, because they say oil, like all.
oh,
Oh,
like Tom.
Yeah, oil. It's oil.
it's
I'm
it's
putting motor
AHL.
oil in my car, not motor all. I got some motor all.
It's pronounced. It's spelled AHL. All.
Okay.
Your boat oil. Your boat all. Your car all.
Yeah. We got to tease you though, Carol, because you just talk so weird.
Dang. I think it's cute.
I can kind of understand what she's saying, but then whatever. You know what
I
I
like
mean?
to
There's
I
Scott.
like to listen to little kids with different accents because they can hardly talk in the first place, but then when they start speaking with these different accents, I just think that's cute.
Here, I'll put the link in the chat if anybody else wants to come in and talk funny.
Yeah, you did luck out on that whole deal,
Hey,
Lashana. You did really good on that.
Cyber, come in for just a couple of minutes and let everybody hear how you talk.
So I can make fun of you.
He's now I can understand Cyber. In fact, I can probably
Oh,
understand him.
really?
Yeah, I can understand him better than I can Carol.
What about Ray? I mean, Bumcrack.
Bumcrack, you come in too. Bumcrack, yeah,
Yeah, he's not gonna come in.
he talks about like Cyber. I can understand him.
Yeah.
He just laughs. Ha ha ha.
Sometimes me and Bumcrack, we play a little game to where Bumcrack says something, and I spend an hour trying to figure out what he's talking about.
Look, there's my favorite, Carol.
Yes, how dare you?
Yeah.
How
I'm
dare
still
I?
in bed, so I can't put my camera on.
Here,
Surprise, surprise.
let me make you bigger so everybody can see you better. Oh, you don't have your camera
No,
on.
I'm not going to show you. I'm in bed. I just here, Todd. I'll talk so you understand. Howdy, partner.
Just know the occasional auras in there.
I reckon something. I don't know. I don't know what you say.
I
Oh,
reckon
my.
I'll mosey you down to the bar.
Oh, yeah, there you
Beard,
go. Thank you, Tom.
Hey there, Bumcrack.
Bearded Picker came into the show. I've lost control of the show now.
Oh
Bearded's
boy.
here. I need to give Bearded a wrench. Let's see, where'd he go? There he went.
What's going on, Carol?
I'm just waking up.
Oh,
Damn,
That's
it's 10
about it.
o'clock.
Huh?
wow.
It's 10 o'clock. You're just getting up.
It's What time is it?
9:30.
9:30.
9:30.
Yeah.
Well, it must be nice to be rich and you just sleep all day, and then
That's
the
it.
house,
Yep.
the
My
housekeeper
son.
brings your tea in the morning.
Yep. Are
Okay.
you kidding me? I got the worst life. Are you kidding? Oh my goodness. All right, I'm venturing up out of bed because I got to take the big guy outside.
Oh,
Oh my
Hey,
God,
Scott.
it snowed. It snowed last night.
21 here.
you haven't even looked outside yet, Carol?
I just did right now. I just got out of bed. I told you I can move the world from my bed, Todd. Come on.
Todd, the maid just drew open the curtains for it. Said, "Madam, it's time to get up."
Oh,
You know, like, ma'am, would you
Morning,
like to
Julie.
go to bed? Hey,
Ju-
Toby.
Julie loves Carol's accent. She just sounds weird. That's
I
all.
don't
I
sound
like
weird.
it
I sound
too.
normal.
Well, I'm sure you sound normal for there, but you wouldn't last long in Central Texas,
Are you
Carol.
kidding me? I'd bust all those people up. They'd be like, thanks up me.
So you have snow, Carol?
What?
You have snow already?
Yeah, last night. But it's just a dusting.
Oh,
It's just a dusting. No fear. Everybody else, it's all set. It's only a dusting.
you're not you're not going out for the milk and bread.
Oh, no, I don't care about that.
You
Yeah,
don't
I
care
don't
if you
care about that.
starve.
Yeah, no, because
And
we don't
people
need to
up
go
north
for
don't
nothing.
do that, Todd. I mean, it would have to be like a major blizzard with 20-some
You know,
inches of snow.
you have to
I
be
mean, oh no, 5 inches of snow, quick, buy the milk and bread. You don't even get to take off of work then.
right.
right.
And
It's just like
Todd,
business as normal.
only people Todd's age start going to get the milk and bread.
Yeah. They have 5
gotta
gallons of milk in the fridge. I better get another gallon of milk.
gotta survive the blizzard onslaught.
And then Todd, then them Yankees come down this direction when it gets up to 100 degrees. They're just like they will get out of their air conditioning in the cars and just pass out on the side of the road.
Oh yeah, I
Well,
can't
I don't
handle
like
the
it when
heat.
it's 100 degrees. Yeah.
I don't.
I
Yeah,
like
I
to
don't
see
like
you
the
out,
nice
Todd,
weather.
trotting around in 100-degree weather for a couple hours. I put up
Oh
fence
yeah.
and it was 100 down here.
We have up north when it gets to the 90s, you got ambulances picking up people from heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gets up to the 90s up in northern Wisconsin. People don't even.
Oh yeah, like when it's 85, you're like, oh my god, it's so hot. Now I will say it's different here because now it'll be like it's like 80 is turned into 70 for us, so now it doesn't even seem that bad. But like when I lived up north, it'd be like 85. It'd be like, oh my god, it's
We
so
were-
hot. What are we gonna do?
We were in an auction. I think it was like in the low 90s. We were in an auction. The ambulance had come 3 times to pick up people for heat exhaustion.
Yeah,
Remember?
Wow.
old people were dropping like flies.
Well, I have a cousin that works at the hospital, the medical center in Charleston, South Carolina, and she says during the summer they're constantly bringing in Yankees and people from the Northwest in
Sounds like
for heat exhaustion. And
Jim takes me to Disney World. We always went in August when it's hot in Florida, and he marches me all over the place. And you got to just keep up. You don't have any time for heat exhaustion or nothing.
that's because he'd leave you he'd put you on a bench and leave you there, and then about
No,
11
no,
o'clock
he
that
wouldn't.
night you'd be going, "Where's Jim at?"
No, he wouldn't, because like if you try to sit down for too long, then he's like right up your ass. Like, what are you doing? Why aren't you moving? So you ask to go to stuff like the Carousel of Progress or the Hall of Presidents, because those like take like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and you can take a break.
I went
You're
to an
right.
auction in July this summer, and it was 104 in the
Yeah.
shade. And
Ugh,
but
I would
after
die.
about 2 hours, there was only like 30 people left at the
I will
auction.
say the heat is good at thinning a crowd out. I mean, you got to really be the hardcore that stick to the end.
Right.
I would say.
Scott says lizard survival food, milk and sandwiches. Hell yeah.
There you go.
You can make sandwiches. You can make sandwiches if you got power or not.
Well, up here in the north, we know that we have a grill, so if we lose power, we can put the grill on.
Yep.
outside.
Like my stove is gas, and so
Yeah,
even
so do
when my
mine.
electric goes out, I still have heat
Yeah.
and a way to heat food or water.
A boy I went to high school with lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was talking to him a couple years ago, and he's like, "It's 108 degrees out here," and I said, "But that's a dry heat, right?" And he's like, "108 is 108, whether it's
Yeah.
wet or it's dry." He says, "You just about pass out outside,"
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it's
went to.
hot, like
which
in
is
Arizona and
his
that.
his parents do not go out to visit except during the winter because it gets down to the 80s, you know.
My mom sent me on a tour of the Southwest in the summer with like this elderly family member of ours, and I remember because it was a bus tour, so we drove from like Iowa, and then like all the way to like Arizona or whatever. It's by the Petrified Forest, and they like, oh, let's get on the bus and look at it. It was because we're northern Wisconsin people. It was like the heat was like a weight driving you down into the ground, like you're getting baked, and the old people just started falling over.
Yeah, and there's not even a bush at the petrified forest. It's
Yep,
just
everything is cactus and rocks. I swear.
it's
Well,
just
it's like people like to come
burnt
to
off rock.
they like to come to like Charleston during this August on vacation, and they get out of their cars or they step out of the airport terminal, and the 400% humidity just about drowns them.
Yeah.
People don't look at if you don't have kids, the the late fall and early spring is the best time to come to
Yeah.
the Carolinas.
We grew up going to Bullhead City, Arizona. That's where my grandparents lived. It was a 6-hour ride, usually in the back of a pickup truck with a camper on it,
Uh huh.
Mm.
with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And usually it was hotter than 100, if not 120. It
Oh
was
my
like
God.
it was like 2 minutes from the damn sun. Is
Can
what
you
it was.
imagine if you tried to do stuff like that now, like load up your kids in the back of a pickup truck with a topper? And
Yeah.
I went to Canada, and that's what I did when we went. They had a standard cab truck with a topper on it. They put an air mattress in it, and I rode in the bed of the truck pretty much from northern Wisconsin to Canada.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Back when I was a kid, my dad had a truck with just a shell on the back of it, and he made two bunks. And between the two bunks, you could have there was a little table that would sit down there, and there would be my younger brother and I and some of our friends. Um, we'd all be back there, and we'd play board games and everything back there. No seat belts, just laying
Yeah,
on those bunks, laying around. The,
I
a
gotta have
police
Jim tell
a
you.
police officer would use all the tickets in his book before he got finished if he did that now.
Let me tell you
Mm.
this crazy contraption that Jim's dad built. Tell him about the car seat show.
Oh, yeah. Um, when I was a kid, we'd go back and forth because my dad. We bought the house in Wisconsin, but my dad was still working in Chicago, so we'd go back and forth. And he had a standard cab. I don't know, 1967 pickup truck. This is probably a 1970 274 thing with like a place for my sister to sleep. She's an infant. Okay. She's like, yeah, she's like 1 or 2 years old. He's got this box that's like on the dashboard, and the back of it's like on the back of the front on the seat, the bench seat, and it's got some 2x4 supports. And then I would go underneath it, and I would sleep on the floor, or you'd be hunched over underneath this like bunk bed thing
Oh
on the
my
passenger
God.
side. And my mom would sit next to my dad.
With the baby in a car seat on top of this wood
She
shelf.
wasn't even in a car seat. She was
Oh,
just in this box.
she like gave you the car seat.
There was no
Cat
car
box.
seat. You didn't legally.
Golly.
You didn't have to have them. They weren't required. No seatbelts.
Yeah, but they still made them.
Well, yeah, but she
At
she
least,
wasn't in one. She's in this like thing.
Wood box.
Otherwise, my mom either held her or
dang.
put her up there to sleep. But it was like a football. I mean, we'd hit something. She gone straight right through the windshield. Anyway, so I'm underneath, crouched down, and my dad built this. And my mom would sit in the middle, and it was a stick. So my dad had to reach down between my mom's legs to shift the truck, and he's driving it. This,
That's what he was telling you.
straight pickup truck. It wasn't a dually, but it was a 1-ton Ford.
Huh.
Anyway, yeah, that's where I used to go back and forth. We
Dang,
rolled.
least Jesus had a manger. Your sister had a box.
Well, she has some blankets and stuff.
We gave her some blankets.
It's kind of like like a hamster nest. But anyway, first time we went to Disney World, my dad said, we're going to Disney World, April of 1975. We're like, we're going to Disney World. We go in a Dodge pickup truck. It was probably like a 72, 73 Dodge, which was the extended cab. Well, I don't know if you remember those old Dodges. They had those flip down seats. They went in the wall of the truck. The seat is like the size of like a excuse my French, Harley bitch seat. The back end, where the girl sits on the fender, the rear fender of the Harley. It folds down. It's got a U-shaped piece of metal that flips out. That's the leg. And it flips out, and you sit on that thing, and it's just enough space for you to get like 4 inches of your butt cheeks on. Me and my sister are facing each other, sitting on these torturously hard seats in the back of this pickup truck, going to Florida, going to Disney World. And you know what? We didn't care because we were going to Disney World.
Yeah.
We rode, and back then it took like 3 days to get down there. It wasn't. You didn't have the expressways now where it's like it takes 24 hours to get from Eagle River to Orlando. Back then we had to stay overnight. I mean, it was a 3-day trip.
Dang.
Because the roads
That's
weren't near as good as they are now.
That's called child abuse.
Oh yeah,
I just didn't know it.
Listen, my younger brother would get up in the back dash, from the back window. He'd get up there and lay across it and sleep back there.
Yeah.
They would throw you in jail now.
We had a
But I remember when they started putting seatbelts in all the cars. It was required. And we used to wear seatbelts not because it was mandatory, it's because it was such a novelty, It's like, hey.
We had a pickup truck without a topper that my uncle got. It was just sitting in there. It was an old school bus bench seat, like from the 60s. He set it up there, and then when we'd go swimming, that's where we would ride as a standard cab truck. We'd get in the bed of the truck and ride on that bench seat home. Just out loose. Nothing holding us in, nothing holding the bench seat in or nothing.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what, love seats are real popular here.
I rode in the back of the truck the better part of my childhood.
Yeah.
Because we would pick up.
I don't think you can ride in the bed of the truck anymore, right? Yeah.
No.
No.
Not children.
Yeah.
You can't ride.
For the longest time, you'd see pickup trucks with love seats in them. They turn around, the back of the love seat would be up against the cab. So,
Valerie's dad, when he bought a Toyota pickup truck, and it had a topper on it, and it was a small bed, so he said he was going to make the best of the space, and so he built an insert basically out of wood, to where over the wheel wells, it was straight down from there, and he built cabinets, like a cabinet on this side, a cabinet on the other side, and then on the in between, he had a board that would lay on top, so that they could put a mattress on there, and so that's what that's what they would sleep in when we go camping. And then like the cabinets and stuff would have storage, and then he covered them in carpet, and so it was like a little bit of comfort back there, but we thought we were highfalutin. But that was after we've already had a Chevy, one of those big Chevy vans that had the spinning seats.
Oh, the conversion van.
Yeah, those were awesome.
Oh, those are great to
riding
travel
in that. That was pretty cool. I know, right, Julie?
I grew up with the back seat. When I was a kid, the back seat of a car was big enough that you could put 4 kids on the back seat and they could lay down and sleep, because they were like 6 feet wide,
Oh shoot! You didn't have a station wagon. You could sleep probably 8 in that thing.
We got a station wagon in 1972, a Kingswood station wagon, a
Yeah.
Chevy, and that's what I took my driver's test in. If for those that doesn't know how big that is, if you driving down the road and you see like a Ford or Chevy 4-door pickup truck, that's about the size of it. I mean, that's how wide and long it was.
Yeah.
It was huge. But
Yeah, we
yeah,
had
when we go someplace if we were going someplace that was going to be a long ride, we'd throw a sleeping bag down across the back, drop the back seat, throw a sleeping bag down, and get some blankets, and we'd lay back there and sleep.
yeah, we had a Grand Safari, and I'd sleep in the bed in the back of it, and then because we always we'd be driving to northern Wisconsin, so we'd stop at this hamburger place, and I'd set up my little picnic with my like shake and stuff back there.
Well, that's one thing that it's sad that kids they don't have the experience now. It's like when we would go places, it wasn't stopping at a fast food place. Like if we were taking a vacation, we packed a cooler, and we had check drinks, which were like 10 cents a can back in those days.
Yes.
And we'd go into if we were on the interstate, we'd stop at a rest area where they have the picnic tables, and my mom would make sandwiches.
They had interstates when you were a kid? I thought Eisenhower put those
Shut
in.
the hell up, Tara.
Did they have you get out of the car and crank start it so y'all could go on your trip?
No, we had push button starts by then.
Didn't they used to get their gas at the hardware store in those 1-gallon cans?
Yeah.
That's in the olden days. They had those glass top pumps. You put a gallon, goes up in there, and then gravity feeds into your car.
Hitch up the horses to the wagon and let's go.
We had a neighbor that he had a Model A. It was the Model T, and then there was the Model A, right? It wasn't a Model
T at first. The Model T is older.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Driving around a lawn tractor. The Model A is kind of like driving a car that goes 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's what he had was a Model A, and it still had the hand crank on the front of it. And he used to drive it in like Christmas parades and stuff like that because it was really nice. And I tried hand cranking that sucker one time, and I thought I was going to throw my shoulder out trying to crank that thing. His wife was a little waif of the thing. She just went up there and she said, "There's a way you do this," and she spun that sucker and it cranked right up.
Oh boy, Tom, you are Lord Fauntleroy, right?
Well, no, you're afraid to break your toe.
No, the guy said that there was a certain way you had to crank that thing, or you'd never get it cranked. Cronk. You'd never get it cranked. But I didn't realize that they use that thing for farming. Because its first gear was so low, it pull a turn plow.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that where they would convert like those Model Ts to tractors.
No,
yeah. That's it.
The T's didn't have enough juice. It was like a Volkswagen. It didn't have any guts.
They used to do something in Crandon too, where they were getting a bunch after World War II. They would get these surplus military jeeps, and then they'd use them to like pull plows and stuff like they're trying to use them like tractors.
But again, like an army jeep won't go over 40 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't drive it down the highway.
Just to show you how rednecky my family is, we never did get rid of that Kingswood station wagon. We kept that thing for years. And then after my mom got a new car, my dad took it to the farm, and they cut the back of the station wagon off, the roof off of it. So it took the seats out, so it was just like a El Camino.
Yeah.
And he must have drove that thing for just hauling. Just most of my cousins learned how to drive in that thing, driving across pastures and when we were baling hay and whatnot. And
I swear those things won't die.
What's so funny is that it had a 460, 464. Which one is it the Chevrolet has?
Yeah, what's that mid-size engine? What is that on a Chevy?
460, 464.
Yeah, no, I think we had that Grand Safari. That's a Pontiac. It had like that same engine.
Yeah. Anyway, he ended up selling that thing for like just the motor out of it for $2,000,
No.
and it must have had 400,000 miles on it. But good times. Anyway, you drive that sucker, you felt like you were. It had tags on it. It was still street legal. We'd have to drive it to get gas in it, and we would all we'd all be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeehaw! Redneck is alive and well, doing well in the South.
We had that 79 Grand Safari, and it was like 93. We still had it, and once in a while I'd have to drive it or go to town with it. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is like the dork mobile, you know? It was so big and huge, and
We pulled a camper with that thing, or my dad pulled a camper with it, so it had the air shocks on the back of it,
yeah.
and I mean that sucker was a tank. Like I said, I took my driver's test in that thing, and when I got to the parallel parking, I don't know, you youngins probably don't even know what parallel parking is.
I failed my driving test because I couldn't parallel park because I had been learned how to drive in a 91 Pontiac what the heck, Sunbird, which is very small. And then they're
Yeah,
like, oh, here, take your driving test in this. It was like one of these big, huge Lincolns, you know, where the hood looks like it's a mile long. And then I had to
right.
do the parallel parking, and I failed it because of that.
I got we did the parallel parking, and I pulled up and then kicked the wheel so it would start back into it, and I got the back of the car into the slot, and my driver instructor, I mean the person giving the license test, he said, "Oh, that's good, let's go." And we went and did a 3-point turn and called it a day. I said, "You didn't want me to do the rest of the 3-point turn?" He said, "The parallel parking." He says, "Son, I don't know whether I could parallel park this thing."
Yeah. Well, you had a nice one. I failed my first driver's test because I didn't know how to work the defrosters. Guy was, oh, and then blind intersections, which I'm like, what? I didn't take driver's ed. I'm 20 years old. I've been driving without a license, and now my family's like, no, you need to get a license. They got these things called blind intersections where they don't have any signage or anything, but you're supposed to yield at them. Well, I didn't know that, so I blew through all those and didn't know how to work the defrost. Failed me. Go to the second time, they failed me because I couldn't parallel park. And then I got it on my third time driving a pickup truck.
over over in Boston, near the Monopoly manufacturing facility, is like a 6-way intersection. And I mean, I was a grown adult. I was married to Roberta, and our best friends were up there in Massachusetts. And we got to this intersection, and I'm like, "What the hell do you do here?" And Chris was like, "Just give her gas and hope you don't hit nobody." Uh, but it's like we don't have those things down south.
Was it like
It
a
was like all these.
roundabout?
No, it wasn't a roundabout
Oh,
because Charleston has had roundabouts for 100 years. But no, it was just like all these roads intersected in this one place, and it wasn't like a regular intersection. It was like a big circle that was all paved, and then all the roads crossed in the middle of it. It was weird. We stopped to get lunch a little bit later on, and we were asking the waiter about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he said, "There's usually a wrecker sitting on the corner over there because there's going to be an accident at least twice a day."
Wow.
I like them back roads. Yeehaw!
I was
And
trying
then
to remember what what brand of uh station wagon we had, and I think we had a Kingswood.
yeah,
I think that's
that's
what.
what we had. A Kingswood, big as
we had a Grand
big as
Safari. My family
big as
always
a,
drew Pontiacs.
that was the Pontiac version of a Kingswood.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just tremendous.
Oh, that Grand Safari was huge. And it had like all the bells and whistles, like deluxe, you know. In its day, it was a heck of a car.
We have some neighbors that are from England, and his father and mother came over to visit, and his mother's like, I could put my car, drive my car up in the back of his truck because he's got a he's got an F-250 long bed, and she said I could put my car up in the back of the bed of his truck, and but she said, you know, all the streets are 1,000 years old over there, so they you can't drive two big huge cars down one street in opposite directions. Thought I'd throw that in there because we have a few peeps from across the pond in here this morning.
Yeah.
So Tara, what you got? You got any big reselling plans this weekend?
No, I got a list. I took my pictures this morning and then I'm going to work on listing and Jim's shipping.
Right.
So we're doing that. Just the usual stuff. I got to go get some hay tomorrow. Just stuff like that.
Yeah. I got through this until this afternoon, and then I got to go to bed.
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
10-hour shifts all weekend, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, you doing the show tomorrow, Sally, or are you
No.
working?
I work.
All right. I guess I got to do it again. Dang it.
Well, dang it.
Dang it.
Bless you.
Thank you. Somebody brought a cold home. Brandon brought a cold home, and Jim had it real bad. I kind of wonder if he didn't have COVID because he's like, I can't taste or smell anything, so I don't know what it is. He was real sick. Now I'm getting it just a little bit.
We have a friend that's a school teacher, and he just, you know, they didn't have school last year. Everything was online, and he's just like cussing and raising hell because he's like, you know what, we have the flu, and there's only 1/3 of the school is, you know, the kids are in school because everybody else is sick with the flu, and we just keep pushing right along, you know, and he said it's a lot worse because, you know, these kids just pass it around between them.
Yeah.
And like you're at home all the time. Brandon goes to school and he's healthy, but he gets exposed to some kid that's not. So what does he do? He brings it home to you.
Yeah. Well, that's school. I mean, like, because before that, Brandon wasn't in daycare. And I remember that first year we stepped into school. I swear to God, that whole winter, one of us in the family was sick. It was just perpetually rotating between the three of us, you know. It was bad. It ain't as bad now. I suppose now we got immunity to it. Anyway, but
it's really bad up here right now.
Well, before COVID, that winter, it was like I remember they were shutting the school down because they had so many kids that had flu or out for flu, so they would try to shut the school down just to stop the spread of flu, which I'd never seen before. I never saw that up north.
Yeah.
Well, back when Todd and I were in elementary school, you know, your arm could be hanging half off of it, and they'd put a Band-Aid on it. They go on to school, you're okay. You get over it.
Well, now because I mean they're like, if your kid's sick, do not send him to school. You know, it's like if your kid's coughing or whatever, you just don't dare send him to school. Last week, I kept Brandon home, and then he had to go. He had archery practice Thursday, but he had a tournament on Saturday, and he should have probably stayed home from school on Thursday, but he went because he wanted to go to archery, so he was ready for that stupid tournament.
Right. Yep, that is a bad sign, Todd.
This ring might not be gold.
Yeah, it might not be.
Anyway.
Oh, that's a shit. I thought that was a chain on it, but that's a magnet.
Don't cuss on my show.
Day, and it had a 14 karat gold. What is it? It's 14 karat gold necklace, and then I think the brooch was gold filled. And then I also found a sterling silver necklace with pearls.
Hmm.
And it was marked IPS, which is the International Pearl Syndicate, which I had never heard of. So I learned something.
It amazes me, like at auctions. I mean, now they're a little more savvy, but I used to buy like they'd just throw jewelry in a flat. I mean, I'd find like wedding bands in there and stuff like that. It was amazing that
Heck
people
yeah.
wouldn't like look through it more. But I think they just take the jewelry boxes and just dump them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they put at our Salvation Army now. They put a whole bunch of jewelry in a bag and sell it for like $10.
Yeah.
And so they don't catch everything, because I find there's some like even just regular jewelry that's not gold or silver,
Yeah.
like Monet or
Well, a
you know.
couple weeks ago, I was at an auction and they had a Trifari bracelet. It was in the clam box. It was like a birthstone bracelet. And it was nice looking. I mean, it looked like it never was worn, and they had a nice
Yeah,
box. I paid $3 for it, and I sold it for like 77. Just everybody
yeah,
just sat on their hands. They just didn't buy it.
yeah. Depending on what it is, like even Monet and Trifari and stuff like that can go for really good money.
Well, folks, it's 9 o'clock.
Okay.
If I'm doing the show tomorrow, I'm going to shut this one off now.
No boy, Todd's
I
Okay.
on
hope
it.
y'all learned about reselling today.
Not really.
No, nobody learned anything, which is fine, I
I'm
guess.
getting called.
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming in, everybody.
Bye
Thanks for
bye.
having me, Todd. See you guys
Thanks for
later.
being in the side
Bye.
chat, etc., etc. Bye.